Welcome to the video. Check out the gang I cleaned up. And if I can hold this iPad. Mr. Bullfrog that was his natural way. He's already turned looking at the turtles. Goldie, Miss Goldstone. And there we have them all. Henrietta's back there in front of her pearls. Angelica. And our new member, Earth Mother. And we've got them all. We've got them all here. And, oh, Cluck fell over. I'll pick him up in a little while. And he's always by Shelley. I wanted to do a reading because I got some things cleaned up there. And in this book, remember, I couldn't get through the one euthanasia story. And then I think we skipped this one and went to that church one. But when I looked at where this was and I glanced, I think it might fit with what we did today. We got our Earth Mother today. We got our Southwest lot. And I didn't read it, so I'm not saying that I agree with the author. I don't know what she says, but I think it's appropriate just to read today. Nuna Dalsuni. It's the Trail of Tears, said Kirsten, my 11-year-old great-granddaughter, as she watched seemingly endless streams of people making their way out of Kosovo. People whose exhaustion, drawn faces, lostness and weeping were being sent out all over the world, sent to us by television cameras. She had come across a painting of the Trail of Tears in her history book, and the similarity was striking. They were routed out of their homes, dispossessed of their lands, forced to walk for hundreds of miles under the adverse circumstances, often in miserable weather. No, this is not Kosovo. This was our country in the 1830s. The Milosevic of that period was our own government. Catering to the lust of settlers for Indian land, the government came up with the Indian Removal Act. And when the legality of that was challenged, crafted a treaty which was ratified by the Senate. Thus began the relocation of thousands of human beings who didn't want to leave their homes, didn't want to go where they were forced to go. Something to think about when we make judgments about what has been happening in Kosovo. Not to excuse or tolerate it, but to wonder why human nature has made so little progress in the past 1.5 centuries, and to deflate self-righteousness with the remembrance of our own dabbling in hatred and genocide. Hatred and genocide, two of the most loathsome words in our language. Their definitions, no doubt, played out long before there were languages. How many trails have there been over the millennia? More than I really want to think about, although some of them are recent enough that they can't be ignored. Observers. That's what most of us are. The graphic pictures of those who have been pushed from their homes are paraded through our daily, all day long. If we wish to punish ourselves by watching, can any good come out of that? I just want to stop and say I think this was written in the 70s, 80s, or 90s. Yes, if you consider it our obligation to be informed when suffering is being inflicted on fellow humans. Television may at times drive us to the point of insanity, but it is a mighty pricker of consciences. We cannot deny guilt by saying we didn't know what was happening, as has been said of some past trails. I suppose there were observers along the trails in the 1830s, but most of the population was too far removed to be aware of the, quote, relocations, let alone the devastation and deaths that bloodied them. Too far away to trigger an outpouring of humanitarian aid, even if they did know. Our government knew. The death statistics, 1/4 in the first removal, 3,500 out of 15,000 in the second, 4,000 on the Cherokee Trail, indicate that it was an outpouring of sympathy. It was indicate that if there was any outpouring of sympathy and assistance on the part of our government, it was directed elsewhere. I have tried to imagine myself as one of the refugees in Kosovo. Although the children are always our prime concern, those of us who are about as far away from childhood as we can get are well represented in that mess of humanity. An old woman curled up beneath a blanket in a wheelbarrow imprinted herself in my mind and refuses to go away. In my imagining, I have doubts that I would make it that far. With my home and everything in it destroyed, not knowing where I was going or how I would survive, to say nothing of the physical stress, I suspect I would come to the point of enough is enough, and would find a friendly bush well off the trail where I could curl up beneath it and sleep my way into unconsciousness. Better than a wheelbarrow. These are supposed to be my golden years, but I have a hard time keeping them bright and shiny. We are horrified by the images being transmitted from Kosovo. We look back at the 1830s in our country with disbelief. Is there any hope that in Kirsten's lifetime, trails of tears will become nothing more than flashbacks in history? Will her great-granddaughter find a picture of the 1999 Kosovo trails in her school books? Will the Trail of Tears still be there? Will trails darken her golden years, as have mine? And if so, where will they be? Is it within the capability of the human mind to imagine what the world would be like if each of us, all of us, adopted a creed, as a creed, the words of a weary and defeated Chief Joseph, quote, "From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more, forever," end quote. Nuna Dal Suni translates from the Cherokee languages, trail where they cried. The legend of the Cherokee Rose says the chiefs prayed for a sign to lift the spirits of grieving mothers and give them strength to care for their suffering children. From that day forward, a beautiful rose sprang up wherever a mother's tear touched the ground. It is tempting to drift off into a poetic fantasy about roses coming out of the tears in Kosovo, but I cannot do that. The grief must be observed, recorded, and allowed to play itself out. To dilute it with romantic symbolism is unacceptable. Let's just get our new roses the usual way, through the same long, patient process that brought us the beautiful rose named Peace. That was our reading, and I wanted to give away a couple of freebies. Yep, there's the gang with our beautiful Earth Mother. These were offered a while back, but we have so much going on in the videos. It's a nice, like a cloisonne, but not real cloisonne, but it does have a raised golden lines in it. That's a freebie. Rudolph with rhinestones. Brooch is a freebie. The two plastic dangling flamingos. Earrings. Freebie. A nice yellow glass, an orange glass, and pink glass with a beautiful feather metal blue seed beads with shell necklace, beautiful. And the last one is these earrings. The tail broke off on one. They are mother of pearl, and they're lovely. Those are the freebies tonight. I want to say God bless. Headed to bed, getting ready for the work week. Probably won't be doing too many videos this week. Really, you know, got on there and gave us, everybody, myself included, an opportunity for that treasure hunting. Mailed off those packages, and I hope it'll give you all a lift when you receive them. Thank y'all for being with us. That's from Linda earlier today. Thank you, Linda E., and God bless. Thank everybody for joining us. Have a great week.